Aloha, everybody. This is Paul Brecht of Hawaii Sports Radio Network, but I am joined by Bailey Furman for another episode of Sharks Weekly. Really excited to have you alongside us this week as we are joined by the men's basketball team, one of the more fun, personable programs here at HPU, and plenty of interesting personalities that we have here at the table today. Plenty to discuss as it's senior week, senior day, senior night, all of the senior things we will discuss here soon. We're here inside the HPU Esports Arena powered by DSE Hawai'i on the Aloha Tower Marketplace campus here in beautiful Hawaii. I'm joined by my co-host Bailey Furman, who Bailey, first things first, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for this group. It's always fun having basketball on.
It's certainly a good time. A lot of personalities, like I mentioned, and a team that has continued to work and build under second-year head coach here, Jesse Nakanishi. I'll bring you into the conversation now. Jess, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you doing? We got three players here as well, and after you tell us how you're doing, would you let us know who maybe you brought today?
All right, I appreciate you having us and myself, of course. It's always a good time being here and talking some hoops and life and Hawaii and all of that in HPU, of course. But, yeah, I'm excited to have three of our guys. I thought it would be great to have a long-time senior and Big Tuck come on board and jump on the radio. He's been here 5 years now, Tuck. And a quick stint senior in Jonas Visser. Joined us for 1 year for his final and culminating year of his career, and then one of our transfers who just in Josh West who just took on a huge role this year and made big jumps in his playing career even, and did awesome things this year. And with 2 games to go, we're looking for big things from these 3 dudes.
I'm excited to continue to get to know these guys a little bit more. J-Dub obviously has a little place close to my heart as a fellow D3 guy formerly, and now moving on up. Exactly. A lot of D3 representation at this table, and he's shown this season certainly how the levels certainly have started to come closer together and how you can find success. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well. I want to start things off with you, Tucker, though, because we've had you on the show before a couple of times, and it's been about your time as SAC president and with experiences as an HPU student athlete, but we haven't chatted with you for a while about actual basketball itself. So for people who might be listening for the first time, meeting you for the first time, tell us a little bit about your background. How'd you get into basketball in the first place? How'd you make your way to HPU and start this journey that is now kind of culminating tonight?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me on today. It's always a pleasure. But yeah, so I'm from Portland, Oregon originally. And I've always been the tallest kid in my class, and I was always asked, hey, do you play basketball? And the answer was always no, and I never really got into the sport. But I think in 7th grade, I decided to try out for a rec team for my high school, and it was one of those things where I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot, give it a season. By the end of the season, I fell in love with it, and the rest is history. So I worked my way up through middle school. I was on the freshman team in high school, JV, eventually varsity, and by my junior year, I realized, hey, this is something I can actually go to school and be really good at this if I lock in and really make the effort. And so my junior year, bunch of AAU stuff, recruiting stuff, everything that a high schooler does at that time. And that was kind of my breakthrough point. Was halfway through my senior season. Got in touch with Coach Stanger from HPU, actually, one of the OGs for me. And yeah, the rest is history. Came to HPU and has spent 5 years here and loved every day of it.
And we'll certainly talk a little bit more about that experience. It seems like it's been a rewarding one at that, and I hope all of you are able to feel that way. J-Dub, I'm going to move to you next. Joshua West from Dominican, not the one, obviously, that you guys play here in the Pac West, but also a transfer from Dominican College. Your first season here with HPU. Kind of give us a little bit of background into the journey of Joshua West and maybe what got you into basketball to begin with, and now maybe kind of how you made your way out to the islands.
All right, for sure. Thanks for having me on. A little bit about myself. I'm from Chicago. I got into basketball like super young, probably like 3 years old on like mini rims and stuff like that. And then, and then when it got to like actual 10-foot hoops and stuff, I was going to the park a lot, like just kind of outside basketball. That's big where I'm from, and I would always be there with like my dad or my older brothers and stuff. So that's really where it started at. And then in elementary school, I started playing for our fifth grade team. That's when hoops starts. That was my first organized basketball with a team, and I pretty much played ever since there. And I started AAU at eighth grade, so that was kind of a good taste of basketball outside of Chicago, and just seeing how big of a sport it is and stuff like that. And then high school came. I wasn't really anything too crazy. I played JV as a freshman, and then as a sophomore also went through some injuries, and then kind of got my first like real taste of varsity basketball my year. And then senior year came around. I had a couple, JUCO offers and Division III, but I know I wanted to stay like close to home initially and stuff. So Dominican was the perfect fit, right outside of Chicago, maybe like 15 minutes. And I just went there and had some success, unexpected success. I could tell a lot of people because I didn't really have any goals of playing D2 or anything like that. I was kind of just there doing my thing, but I noticed, the results I had and, what was possible. And, ultimately led me here after having some good conversations with Coach Cam and Coach Anat.
Yeah, it's certainly been a fun journey to watch you go through this season as well. Tucker mentioned kind of when playing college basketball first came on his radar. Do you remember that point as well? Was it when you mentioned kind of that senior year you start to get a little bit of interest from JUCO? When was the first point that you realized, like, hey, this could also kind of continue on further than high school?
Well, actually for college, I've always wanted to play college ball. And I'll say when it became like a reality and stuff that it would be my junior year. I had switched AAU teams to CD Elite, and when I was just playing there, I was kind of playing like just I would say some good competition and stuff like that, and I seen just players who were getting certain recognition, and I seen how I was able to hang with them, and then also at the varsity level too. I think in high school it's a big difference than JV, so I noticed just how I kind of was able to compete with everyone. And then I did a little bit of just looking into what is out there for me or what's available, and what type of just offers that people of my caliber were getting at the time. And it kind of became like something that was like real for me my junior year. But as far as like wanting to play college basketball, that's been since I entered high school.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So it's been a journey for you, and certainly somebody else who's had a journey is you, Jonas. I've waited a while to enter you into this conversation, mostly because I'm really excited for this. I've heard plenty from your teammates about your personality. You are a funny guy, somebody who definitely can keep the mood light, but also somebody who has experienced plenty of success throughout his basketball career. This is your obvious first season with HPU and lone season with HPU, but you've had experiences throughout your basketball life. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey growing up playing basketball, and how it came to be that you were an HPU Shark for your final season?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me on the show as well. I'm excited to talk story a little bit. Growing up, I grew up in the Netherlands, and I actually started playing soccer. I was just talking to some of the guys here about that. I actually started out playing a goalie, but I hated it so much that at some point I just figured, all right, I have to stop doing this. But then my parents were like, well, Jonas, you have to play a team sport. So I was like, well, I'm pretty tall. I've always been pretty tall. And so I decided to go for basketball when I was around 8 years old. So did that for a couple years, kind of like recreationally, like 2 times a week or something. And then when I was 12, when high school starts in the Netherlands, is when I kind of started taking things more seriously. I started waking up at 6 to go work out with this academy that we had. And then when I got to the age of 14, 15, I started playing for the youth national team. I played in under 16s and under 18s European championship with the youth national team. And that's kind of when coaches in America started noticing me too. From there, I got in touch with the head coach at San Francisco, University of San Francisco. Went there for 4 years, had some ups and downs there. Decided to go to a different school last year. Decided to go to Southern Nazarene University, and kind of some ups and downs there too. And then this year, for my final year, I kind of wanted it, to be the perfect fit, and that's what I found here at HPU. So that's how I got here.
We're certainly happy that you've made your way here to HPU, and we'll talk a little bit more about what you've experienced this year coming on up. We do have to step aside for a quick break. Bailey, I'm going to toss it over to you real quick, though, so we can thank one of our sponsors that help make out this show every week.
Yeah, Hawaii Pacific University Athletics is sponsored by Hula Girl. Take a fiery sunset while savoring the vibrant flavors of the island.
And you're listening to HPU's Sharks Weekly here on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, and hawaiisportsradio.com. We'll be right back. The conversation continues with HPU men's basketball.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network's 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Back here inside the HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSE Hawaii on the Aloha Tower Marketplace campus on Paul Breck, joined by Bailey Furman and the HPU men's basketball team, talking all things sports for the program here today. We got to meet our players a little bit in this opening segment. Now we want to move a little bit more into the year that has been. Obviously, you guys sitting at 13 and 14, right around 500, 8 and 10 in Pac West play. There have been some good moments, some moments that have been not as what you wanted it to be. We'll talk a little bit about the lessons that maybe you guys have learned, and obviously some of the things that might have gone into place for this year to happen. Coach, I want to start off with you. We'll talk a little bit about the impact of injuries from this year going into this season and how it impacted your recruiting, or even just how recruiting was impacted by the loss of players from last year's team, right? You lose your starting point guard in Diggy Winbush in the offseason to an injury. Joshua Neal-Sulu, who was a player who was a real rotational player, a starter for you last year, misses the entire year this year, and some transfers on out. Talk a little bit about the challenges that presented to your program this season and how that led to bringing in certain people as you tried to continue on building this program in your second year.
Yeah, good. That's cliche-ish, but it's all part of the process as we start to build this program or continue to build this program and our culture here. Yeah, sure. We had a couple injuries and a few other adverse conditions hit our team, but that's every college basketball team. They go through different things, and that's what makes me so proud of this team. We had guys just like Josh and these two that really stepped up and played big roles. And we've accomplished a lot this year, and I don't hold back. Yes, we fell just short of making the playoff here, right outside looking in. Just didn't quite get it done, and that's life a lot of times. You put everything into something, and these guys absolutely have given me everything. Extra time in the gym and just buying into our culture and the way we do things here. And like last year we won a lot of close games. This year we lost a lot of close games, and it's just how basketball and sports and life goes. Sometimes you just didn't quite get it done. But they're such a tight knit group. We had stuff we do off the court, like our community service efforts. I'm super proud of them. Some really exciting things happened this year, like the first statewide TV game that you did a great job too at, Paul. We did all kinds of new initiatives this year, and again, these guys have. When I see them interact with each other, and it's a true brotherhood. And that's a big part of our culture that we're establishing here, because that, to me, and I express to them, gives you a chance to win. It doesn't. Hard work doesn't ensure you're winning. chemistry doesn't ensure you're winning. It gives you a chance to win, and, we're going to keep moving this forward, and I have no doubt that these guys have laid a great foundation for years to come. We're going to benefit, our team and our program is going to benefit from years like this that we've just had, because the culture is definitely in place, and we're going to keep building it, and championships are coming. I'm making sure of that is going to happen. But this is part of the process.
Absolutely. Progress is not always linear, and I think people forget that at times. And I want to move to the players a little bit here, because you guys experienced this season, right? And Jonas, I actually want to start with you, where you come in and you are a veteran in many ways, right? You experienced 4 years at a Division I institution in San Francisco. You experienced time being a real quality player at your last stop at Nazarene, and then now this year coming on in. What was it like for you trying to get integrated as a key new piece while also trying not to necessarily maybe step on toes?
Yeah, great question. I think when I first came here, I was welcomed with wide open arms. It was from the start, everyone was nice to me, wanted to welcome me in, and I think that really helped me grow in this team. Obviously, you don't want to step on any toes, but at the same time, you want to be the player that you've always been, and you want to share your experience with the rest of the team and see if that experience can help others get better as well. So yeah, just trying to be leading by example, taking the experience I've had and bringing it here, working hard every day, getting extra work in, and just kind of hoping that rubs off on the rest of the team.
And you also had a prior relationship with a guy on the roster, right, in Mai Dusanich. How much did that comfort kind of help in your transition coming over here to Hawaii? Because I know that you're from the Netherlands, so I'm sure you already, you have the experience of being far from home, but this is also an island in the middle of the ocean. Did that kind of help your transition as well?
Yeah, definitely. And my being here was a part of the reason why I came here as well, just because I knew him so well and I was very close to him. But when I first came here, for example, he picked me up from the airport. He took me to Walmart to get some sheets and stuff, and that was all very helpful. But even now, I'm still really close with him, and we have some deep and meaningful talks about the season and about life as well. So yeah, it's been great.
It's good to have good relationships with the guys all around. J-Dub, I'm curious about your perspective as well, right? You come in from a Division III institution, and maybe that has a chip on your shoulder, or maybe you come in and you're hoping just for a new start. What was it like for you as you came in for this first year, trying to get settled and get your feet under you in a new situation, in a new environment?
Yeah, so, I guess coming here, I didn't really have any, expectations necessarily. I just knew that I wanted to be the best player that I could be, and do whatever was necessary in order to just help the team win, or just impact in any way, shape, or form. And I think it's kind of, I guess, evident just in terms of the different types of roles that I've had during the season, and I guess taking pride in being able to, just maybe if I need to be just strictly defense for this game, or if I need to, focus on cutting or hitting shots, or so I mentioned that to say that's kind of just the approach that I had. It wasn't really anything that I thought of beforehand, and I think the coaches and the team, made through practices, and then game, and then also film and all of that good stuff, and it was just kind of smooth sailing, I would say, and it was just easy transition, honestly, personally.
You can certainly see it in your statistics on the floor. You can see it in the way that you've played in, like you mentioned, multiple roles. So certainly glad to see you here in the islands putting on a Sharks uniform. Tucker, I'll move to you now, because you're the one who didn't have to maybe start anew this year, but in a sense, you have done that, right? You've been in the program now, you mentioned 5 years, and you go through a coaching change. You were there with Coach V, and then all of a sudden, Coach Nakanishi comes back in, and you see him take over in that head role. Kind of talk about being a veteran on this team, and what it's been like to try and, in your role, help these guys be integrated and how you've seen them be a part and kind of seamlessly fit into the culture.
Yeah, so I mean, I've definitely been through a lot of iterations of Shark basketball, for sure. I think it definitely adds a layer of complexity to it with new guys, just the fact that Hawaii is so unique, and HPU specifically is far more unique than any other university I've ever seen. So when it kind of comes to that, yes, there's a basketball portion of it, but there's also kind of the way of how do you live on this island? I mean, what is the best way to get around? Where's the best places to eat? How do you maintain affordability here? So I think all of those things, like I've really, with new guys, I've tried to kind of take them under my wing and show them the ways that I've learned over my time here, where to buy a moped, how to get it serviced. Like it's just all these little things that, it's a few less things that you have to think about when you step on the court, right? We always talk about in practice, basketball should be a safe haven. You kind of leave the outside world out. And so, if I can help in that aspect, I always try to. So I think that's been a big factor. It's funny to think about and kind of reflect now my first year and think about what, I wish I would have known coming in. And so I think that's kind of what has always guided me with new guys in the team. And it's crazy to think about all the teams that I've been with, but I truly think like these past couple of years have been some of my most enjoyable ones, just because the level of success has been elevated to a certain level. The bar has been set higher, so that's always a great feeling, and it's awesome to kind of start where I started and kind of where we're at now is just a very rewarding process to see how far we've all come.
It sounds very meaningful. You mentioned something there that I want to get quickly before we go to break. You talk about things you wish you would have known coming on in, and perhaps there is a recruit, perhaps there is a transfer listening into this, and they're thinking about HPU. What are maybe some of those things that you wish you would have known going in immediately that maybe would have helped your transition?
Yeah, I would say probably figuring out housing as soon as possible. Before you get here, I think that aspect is super important. I would also probably say staying on top of classes is first and foremost. A lot of times, Hawaii has a ton of distractions, as we all know. Friends want to go to the beach all the time, and you make a lot of friends, especially me. Like in the dorms, I made a lot of friends of people who are just part of the general student body. So knowing that you have this extra piece, this extra obligation to sports, making sure that schoolwork comes first, because at the end of the day, if you don't take care of business in the classroom, you can't take care of business on the court. So I would say academics, a lot of times some guys don't necessarily see that part. So I would say that is probably one of the most important things to take care of first.
Spoken like a true veteran, Unc Tuck over here. No, kidding. Got to step aside for another break. Bailey, toss it to you once again. Give a shout out to one of our wonderful sponsors here for Sharks Weekly.
Wuku Athletics and Jimmy Miyasaka Optometry are proud supporters of Hawaii Pacific University men's basketball.
We love men's basketball here, too, and we'll continue the conversation on the other side of this break, talking a little bit more off-the-court stuff. Coach, you mentioned it, the rewarding of being in the community. Well, we'll see just how rewarding it was coming on up on the other side of this break. You're listening to HPU's Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Back here inside the HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSE Hawaii on the Aloha Tower Marketplace campus. This is Sharks Weekly. We're talking with HPU men's basketball head coach Jesse Nakanishi here with us, along with junior guard Joshua West and a couple of seniors, a couple of big fellas in Big Tucker Pellicci, and Jonas Visser, a couple of guys that we will celebrate later tonight. You can also hear that broadcast here on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, and hawaiisportsradio.com as we celebrate 6 total seniors for the Sharks for the men's side, and then we'll also have the women's basketball action before that. Make sure you tune in to that. Coach, we've had some of your fun games this year in terms of the field trip game, and obviously you guys do a ton of community service. I want to kind of get into that now, where you look back into this year, and what are some of the highlights of what the program's been able to do in terms of community outreach, whether that is something like the Shark Bite mentorship program, or even the student outreach to get folks to games, which does include later tonight with a free pizza for students if they do show up for senior night.
Yeah, it's always rewarding, trying to get involved in the community and have these guys give without expectation of return. Again, more life lessons for them, and they don't even realize right now how big of impact they are having. I think a lot of times later it hits them, but I do know they feel it. We really try to hone in on a particular aspect and reaching out with these 2 schools, and I give them so much credit. They go in every month to 2 schools for an hour, and for busy college kids who have a lot of obligations, like Big Tuck just talked about, with their academics and schoolwork and classes and weights and film and practices, for them to make the time to do that, and they go in there, and I'm pretty amazed with how much energy they bring and try to inspire these kids here and there. And a lot of times, because they don't have classes on Fridays, it is Fridays we go. Then we have, Thursday game. It's a late night. They're up early at 8 o'clock to get to 9 o'clock community service on Friday to straight to practice. And then we got a game on Saturday. So we're including it during busy times. And, it goes a long way for the kids. And, we try to do a lot of community groups just reach out to us now, and we try to accommodate everybody and give our time. We have different schools now that try to ask us to come in, like we go and do their Keiki Fun Days and stuff like that. So it's good having them have these opportunities, and it carries over into life. It just does. Like, just looking at these guys now, I was heartwarmed yesterday. Viss, I'm going to throw you out there, but he came up to me after practice yesterday and talk about doing for others. And I didn't tell you this, Tuck, but he said, Coach, if you're good with it, I'm totally fine. If Tuck plays the same position, and I'm a senior too, but I would love for Tucker to start tomorrow night. He told me yesterday, and that's not too many people will come out and do that, and so that was, I think that carries over from the off the court stuff. It carries over to on the court. That's just another example that we're doing the right things here, and we're doing things the right way, and we've got the right people here in place, and it's all put together, and the winning's coming. But yeah, all the off the court stuff totally translates.
Culture is such an important thing. It goes such a long way, and Josh, I want to get your thoughts a little bit on kind of what that experience has been like for you, coming from a D3 school up now and moving out here, getting immersed in the community like that. Obviously, Tucker has a little experience doing it, and Jonas, we'll chat with you about your side. But Josh, kind of when it comes to your viewpoint, what has it been like for you to experience working with the Keiki and being able to have that community outreach, and how has it helped you guys become closer as a team?
So Tucker mentioned before the second break just how it's a very unique culture here. So coming from where I came from, the school and stuff, is definitely different and a unique experience. And I think the culture aspect and the community service is just one of the many aspects that go into like what makes the unique culture here. I personally, as an individual, value just good character and giving back and just, I guess, being a good person. So I feel like it fit right in. And as I got to do the community service with the kids and things like that, I kind of got to see that all the other individuals and the players are like that as well. So it's kind of a good body of people that make way for the culture to be so easy, and it didn't even feel like any of the players or coaches felt like like or dreadful that we have to be here. It was really something that people were willing to do and were happy to do. And like Coach said, the energy when we're in front of the kids, it's really telling of like how happy we are and how much it means to us to be able to make an impact on some of the kids. And that is in a number of ways. Like some days we're talking to them about how important it is to stay active or to get your sleep, or we're outside with them. We're outside with them in the playground, and being actual like examples, and them playing with us. So it's just I would say a multifaceted just program that we can have that impact in a number of ways.
It sounds incredibly rewarding, and I hope it is that for you guys, because it's cool to see the looks on the kids' faces. You guys had the field trip game, and that day was incredible for them. And yeah, last year I was there, it was fun. This year I was there, it's the same energy, it's that same level, and it's because you guys go out and you have that type of impact. And I'm glad to hear that it kind of does the same thing for the internal culture, right, for the team. Tucker, you might have just heard for the first time, I guess, what Vis did yesterday. What does that kind of mean to you, like being a part of the team for a long time? Like, what's your reaction hearing that?
Yeah, well, definitely heartwarming, to say the least. It's it's not that I hadn't started before, but the past couple of years I haven't had the opportunity. So I think it was a very selfless move for Vis to do that. So appreciate you, Vis. Thank you.
I think it was because all the elbows you took. He felt bad for you.
I do take a lot of elbows from Vis in practice, so maybe that has something to do with it.
I was going to ask. I'm going to shift it over. Vis on the hot seat as to kind of the background behind the decision and kind of what made you want to do that, and also your experience in the program this year doing the community service, what it's been like connecting with the guys, maybe what that has to do with all of it as well.
Right, yeah. I mean, first off, Tucker's just a great guy, and we go at it every day in practice. One of our coaches, Dan Sender, and he keeps telling us to bump, so
you're bumping.
We're bumping, and we get a ton of bruises. Even a couple of days ago, I got hit in the nose again. But at the end of the day, it's all love, and that's ultimately what led to me telling Coach, like, hey, I want Tucker to get his moment, also because he's been here for so long. And yeah, kind of talking about the mentorship program and off the court culture stuff. I think what was interesting yesterday is one of our assistants, Garrett Shiflett, he came out with a song of his own, and we probably shouldn't show that song to everyone else, but it was pretty funny. And he talked about everyone, and he talked about the Shark Way, and I think that's just big time, like having someone put in so much effort into that song, even though like our season is over, I suppose, like we're not going to the playoffs, but at the end of the day, it's all about the process over results, and that's the only thing you can focus on. Just take it one day at a time and keep building that culture no matter what. So yeah.
Talk a little bit about the future, and before we close up this segment, I think that's where I want to close it out with our two seniors. As you get prepared for the next step of your life, how much has your experience with HPU prepared you for whatever it is that you may be doing next? And also, maybe, if you don't mind, maybe you can oblige and let us know, what are you doing next? What are your plans for what's next? I'll keep you on the hot seat and we'll get you off.
Yeah, so this year I've obviously, it's another experience, learned a ton about culture, and what I want to do next year, I want to keep playing basketball. I want to go back to Europe and play professionally over there. So that's the plan. Hopefully I can make that work. On to you, Big Tuck.
Yeah, I mean, just beyond the education that I've been able to earn here at HPU, I mean, that obviously has set me up in my professional career moving forward. But yeah, I think the experiences with the basketball team, with our mentorship program, with interacting with 16 different guys every day, and every year having it be a new group of guys, and really trying to be adaptable to new personalities. I think that in and of itself has taught me a ton. And so my future plans is to, start my career in marketing. So I think just working with people on the court and as part of a team directly translates over to the professional space. So I think that on top of the education I've been able to earn here will take me far.
Kind of adding on that before we move on, me and Tucker are in a group together for one of our classes, and it's like me and 2 other people. And Tucker was like, well, we have to start a business for the group. It's like a group project, a group paper.
Okay.
And like instead of doing like a fictional thing, Tucker was like, well, hey guys, let's do what I want to do next year.
I just want to get some help, huh?
We're all working on a marketing consultancy company that only
Chuck
Tucker
is
is going
always
to pursue.
scheming, Paul. Always scheming.
It seems like a pretty good plan to me. And hey, if you can get some groupthink now,
Exactly.
why wouldn't
exactly.
you?
I'm planning ahead, Paul.
Tuck, you and I have always been on the same page. You know I'm right on board with you right there. Plenty more to talk about before we close things out, but we do got to step aside for our last break of the day. Bailey, one last shout-out for a sponsor for our show here on Sharks Weekly.
Outrigger Resorts and Hotels is proud to sponsor the collegiate athletes of Hawaii Pacific University.
And boy, oh boy, do we love the athletes here, student athletes, I should say, here at Hawaii Pacific University. More to close out our show here on Sharks Weekly. Don't go too far. You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
One last time back here inside the HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSE Hawaii on the Aloha Tower Marketplace campus. I'm Paul Breck, joined by Bailey Furman and the HPU men's basketball team, of course, led by second-year head coach Jesse Nakanishi. Jesse, we just got done talking with the seniors a little bit about what their plans are for next year. We'll talk a little bit about senior night to close out this show, but I also want to give you an opportunity to talk about next year. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about what the offseason may look like, and if players may be listening to this, potential recruits may be listening to this, potentially how they can reach out to you should they be interested in HPU.
Yeah, as a coach, you're always so engrossed in the present and the current team, but, do have an eye out
In the future, always with recruiting. And, as we wind down the season here this week, there's still a lot of excitement for moving forward. Wishing these guys well in this senior week as we will. But, as far as moving forward, we're super excited about, we'll have Diggy back in the mix. We will have Josh Nisula back in the mix.
Some double Josh action.
And then, young man to my left here and has just taken on such a huge role and showed what he's really capable of this year. So, building around him and having him lead this team, I'm really, really ecstatic about. And, we obviously have a couple big shoes to fill as far as big role kind of guys, especially when we graduate all 4 of our bigs. Well, 3 of our bigs. I'm sorry. Mai's going to step up as well. But we graduate 3 bigs, so obviously got to replace some there. And we do have a commitment from a young man, a high school student athlete that we're excited about as well. But yeah, we've got a couple key pieces to throw in the mix here, but our nucleus is here. And that's how you really build and really see success. Is I feel you got to have the returners and who have your culture in place, and now you just filling in a little bit through transfers or high school kids. So yeah, future is really bright here, and we give everyone its due diligence as far as if they're interested in HPU. So if they're interested, they can contact us through email or on the website, and we'll get back to them. But we turn over every rock.
Have to in today's day and age, and that's part of what kind of leads you to some guys like Joshua West, who, Josh, you've experienced a real nice season here, your first year at HPU, and as you get ready to go into the off season, as you look at next year, kind of what's the off season look like for you? What are you getting ready for, and how are you preparing to improve yourself as you get ready for potentially even another step up in your development next year?
Yeah, kind of like Coach said originally, during the season, the off season or next year is not something you think about much. But considering the fact that we have these last 2 games left and it's approaching, it's definitely that time to think about things like that. And I feel like just being able to bring that experience that I have from this year and the experience within the culture, and not only college basketball but also with my teammates who I played with this year, is going to be important. I say that because whether it's a high school recruit or someone from the transfer portal, you can kind of more times than not find a person who knows how to shoot a basketball or can make a layup or a dunk, but it's going to be the stuff like the type of person they are, character, and like I said, experience that is kind of hard to find. So I think just bringing that will be important, and kind of instilling that in whoever is here. That's important to mention, just because obviously with the day and age of college basketball and kind of the landscape of things, you never know what you're going to get, who you're going to get, or what's going to happen. And in terms of me personally as a individual and what I plan for my off season, is just always to get better. That's just in terms of body wise, conditioning, and obviously with certain skill set aspects, shooting and things like that. So that's going to be important for sure.
You checked me a little bit there, talking about the season's not over yet, and you're right. That's actually where I wanted to end things out. Got about 4 minutes left here. Coach, you have senior night later tonight. Just a couple of details on that, as anybody listening in who's thinking about going, what should they know? Should they want to come out tonight to support?
Yeah, please come support these guys and this team and program, and our women's basketball team. They're grinding away as well and have done a great job. They play at 4:30. We'll play at 6:30. We have a little ceremony between the 2 games for both the women's basketball seniors. They have 6. We have 6 as well. Real short though. We'll just honoring these guys and ladies, and we look to end with a bang against we play the 2 rival schools. We play Chaminade tonight, and then we both play Hilo on Saturday to wrap up. And what a great way to finish off this year would be, getting a couple wins against 2 really good teams, and they're battling for playoff spots. So hopefully we can throw a wrench in that.
Yeah, certainly could play a little bit of a spoiler role over these last couple of contests. And now I want to end things out with our seniors, as it's the last game in the Shark Tank for you guys. And I mean, we kind of joked about it off air. It does feel like Chaminade typically finds their way into your senior night spot all the time. Talk a little bit about the excitement to play the local rival, the battle for Oahu one last time, and maybe the chance to play spoiler for the Silver Swords tonight.
Yeah, so kind of taking it back. So my first season, we played Chaminade, I think, 6 times. It was during the COVID season. So from the get-go, it was a pretty it was known that we didn't like Chaminade. And, we played them so many times. In my career, I've probably played them 15, 20 times. So it's going to be fun to go against them. They play the same way they did 5 years ago. So I'm excited to play them and, get to be surrounded by my family. It's my first time my parents will watch me play in the Shark Tank. And so that after 5 years, it's pretty awesome for them to get to see me play. So I'm excited I'm excited for our opponent, excited for the game, but I'm also excited for my family to be there as well.
That's going to be really special. That's going to be really cool. What about you, Vis? What are you expecting for tonight? What can we expect for you tonight?
Yeah, I think an important thing, it's the last home game of my college career and last home game of Tuck's college career and some of our other seniors. I'm just really looking to enjoy the moment, like being in the present. Obviously, your result is important, but I think if you really focus on the present and enjoy every moment, then you usually end up liking the results. So that's what I'll be focusing on.
Sounds pretty good. Got about 2 minutes left. Want to ask each of you just one thing that you will take from your college career, one thing you'll take from your time at HPU as you close it on out.
Well, that's a big question right there. I definitely won't forget those bumps I did against Tech during the season. But in all honesty, I think the culture here is unparalleled with anything I've experienced before, and I think that's something I'll take onto whatever I go next. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably what it means to live aloha. I don't foresee myself living in Hawaii after this year as of now. So I think carrying that with me and the aloha spirit with me as I continue through my life, I think that has been one of the biggest lessons learned, and that encapsulates a million different things, a million different values. So if I had to boil it down to one thing, it would probably be the aloha spirit.
It's a pretty good one to take. Coach, anything to close us out to say either about this class or just about this team in general?
I'm just speechless a little bit with hearing some of these takeaways that they have for the year. It is heartwarming, and it is impactful. It's rewarding for me as a coach that they're getting these lessons, and they're not coached to say these things, but it's really coming from their heart, so that means a lot.
A lot of special people in this program, and a lot of people that you guys should come out and support tonight at the Shark Tank. Like Coach mentioned, 4:30 for the women, 6:30 for the men. If you can't make it, can listen on these airwaves, Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, and streaming on hawaiisportsradio.com. For my co-host Bailey Furman and HPU men's basketball, I want to say thank you guys so much for your time, and we'll chat with you guys soon. Aloha.